we want to treat this as not so much a formal presentation but a workshop. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. If I can't answer them, Will can also answer them. So just a background on me, I work for HP. I've been there about 10 years. Worked in the Unix space, and the last few years I've worked in storage. What I'm covering today is, first of all, a little bit about the strategy at HP. It is a little bit marketing in content, but it's quite short. The reason it's important is that the strategy is what is dictating the way products are being developed at HP. So when I go through that, you'll start to realise when I'm talking about scale-out architectures and common underlying hardware, there's actually a reason to why HP is doing that. Once I get beyond this context, then I'll talk about both the P4000 SAN and also our Store Once disk-to-disk backup appliances, because storage and backup and disaster recovery are really main points of conversation that I'm having with my customers at the moment. They seem to be pain points that are very, very relevant today. So a little bit on the context, you know, the IT world has changed, and what we observed at HP is that every 7 to 10 years there's a very big shift in the way IT services are delivered. And the first big shift was the internet, and then following from that, cloud services. And every customer I talk to is asking me how they can incorporate the cloud somehow in their environment, whether it's a private cloud or bursting out to public cloud services. And a lot of that is because of flexibility, because of cost. There's a whole bunch of reasons why they're doing that. So while these new models, especially around cloud and big data and mobility, have created a lot of new business opportunities for our customers and for your organisations, they also present a lot of challenges to the underlying infrastructure. And quite frankly, if the underlying infrastructure doesn't adapt, it's going to break very quickly in these new business models. So we're talking today about storage. So specifically in the storage game, a lot of the technologies you see today, and from some of our competitors, and even some of HP's legacy products, which I'll go through, they're built on architectures that were released or developed 10 to 15 to 20 years ago. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about, for example, dual controller modular arrays. That's one example. 20 years ago, workloads were very different. They were predictable. You had structured data in databases. Your machines were physical. They weren't virtual. And typically what we saw was IT, groups with large capital budgets to spend on. We know that that's changed. So today, with the onset of virtualization in particular, we have very unpredictable workloads. The way that a lot of my customers are buying IT now is not through big capital expenditure, it's from an OPEX model. And also the information that's inside your organisation, we're finding new ways to unleash and really get value from that information, and that's a lot of that is through analytics. So again, if we continue to do things the way we were doing them, the infrastructure just wouldn't keep up. So obviously, some sort of transformation needs to take place. It's already happened on the compute side, so we've seen virtualization come in, and HP obviously leads with the ProLine server age is clearly dominating that industry. But we saw these large monolithic servers go away in favour of scale-out x86 based platforms, and the applications eventually were redesigned to actually work better in that environment, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. On the network, obviously HP is doing a lot there. Really the main competitor to Cisco, who's had a monopoly on that market for some time. We're looking to reduce the complexity in networks and are transforming that as well. So the next step, logically, was storage. What can we do there? How can we acquire new companies or use R&D within HP to transform the storage industry? And the strategy around that is what HP calls converged storage. And this is important because every new product that HP comes to market with will be based on this strategy. What it means is, well, first of all, the technology is built on a common underlying hardware platform. And this makes a lot of sense because there are economies of scale inherent in our server business that we can then pass on to the storage business. Processors are processors, disks are disks. So it's using a common underlying hardware infrastructure. So what that means is the servers at the back of the room, which you'll see a bit more about later, all the new products, they all look the same because the underlying hardware is the same. What then provides the data storage services, what puts a personality on that hardware is the software that you lay on top of it. So with scale-out and federated software, non-disruptive data growth, putting whether it's block storage, whether it's NAS, whether it's backup, putting that layer of software over the top of that hardware, and allowing you to move forward with your storage. And of course, the final piece, and where some of the cost savings come in as well, is how do I manage it all? Not just my storage, but my servers, my network, and my storage, from one pane of glass. So those three pieces are really key to all of our products moving forward. So the portfolio, quickly, before I deep dive into a few of them. You've probably heard of the EVA, which is now the P6000, the XP, the P2000 tape. Those technologies are not going away. But what they are, they're in a part of our strategy called the traditional data center or the established platforms. So they're here today, they're being developed, but I would say the focus on those products is starting to wane a little bit. Where the real focus on HP's R&D is in these converged storage platforms. And that's 3PAR. So 3PAR was a large acquisition. That's tier 1 storage, block storage. Store ones I'll talk about today, that's our deduplication algorithm that sits on top of disk-based backup. Left hand I'll speak about is IP-based SAN technologies. And hybrids is scale-out NAS. So that's the new portfolio. Beyond there, HP is looking to pre-package server storage and network into integrated solutions. HP has actually had these for quite a while. I think what's been lacking there is the marketing. So now in the converged systems pillar, we have virtual system, which is a horizontally integrated virtualization platform. It's turnkey, you get server storage and network, off you go. Certified for X number of virtual machines, depending on the size. We then extend that with cloud system, which is the layer of software which enables your self-service portal, your orchestration, all the cloudy bits in your environment to get you to that level of service. That's the portfolio, and it's a large portfolio, and you're going to see a lot coming out in the next few months around it. So if you follow the analysts and what they say, so this is mid-range and high-end modular disk array. Left-hand falls, or P4000 falls in this category. Last year, HP was here in this quadrant. So in the space of 1 year, as we've refined the P4000 left-hand technology, we acquired 3PAR in that time as well. We've actually jumped so far right that we lead the industry in terms of our vision or our strategy. And where we fall behind at the moment is the ability to execute behind the pure play storage providers. And I think what you'll find is that execution is going to increase rapidly. It's a lot easier to it's a lot harder to reinvent your strategy and your vision. It takes a lot more R&D and funding than it does to fix your execution. So I'm expecting when this is re-released later this year, that HP will gain more ground again in that space. So that's it for the strategy side. That's, as I said, very important to the way our products are going. Does anyone have any questions about
the acquisition of 3PAR? Is that obviously there's a lot of technologies that are there that have been ingested into the left-hand and P4000 and other storage technologies from HP. Is that becoming the primary underlying technology, or is it a merger of what was existing from left-hand and 3PAR brought into a new converged?
Yeah, so they're completely different products. So I mean, the left hand at the moment is obviously IP based only, and it really covers a large range from our SMB customers all the way up to enterprise, and it's really focused around that iSCSI SAN across the board. 3PAR is really pointed at multi-tenant, utility-based workloads. It's the high-end storage. So they're being developed separately. Absolutely, they're sharing IP between the groups. And for example, with our deduplication algorithm, which I'll talk about, we'll go into the 3PAR group and actually drop that technology eventually, and we'll do the same with P4000. So there's collaboration, but they're distinct products. So P4000, I think I've spoken to a few of you in the room. Some of you are already running this technology, some of you aren't. So, I mean, what is it? It's, first of all, it's a scale-out SAN. I'll talk about that. So it's a new way of building up your SAN environment. It's very efficient in terms